Your brain can lose up to 1,000 neurons every single night. Not because of a disease, not because of a dramatic event, just silently, cell by cell, while you sleep. And here's what makes it worse. Inflammation and oxidative stress don't clock out at bedtime. Once they're in play, the damage keeps going, quietly, without a single warning sign you'd notice. Now, I'm not here to frighten you. I'm here to give you something real. Because after 30 years of watching this happen to patients who are simply getting older, I can tell you this with complete confidence. This is not about aging. It's about what your brain is, or isn't, getting before you go to sleep. Most people think memory loss arrives dramatically, that you wake up one day and don't recognize your home, that something obvious goes wrong. But in reality, it starts much smaller. You forget where you parked the car. You walk into a room and can't remember why. You read something and it's gone by the time you reach the next sentence. It's subtle, it's frustrating, and for millions of people over 60, it's happening every single night. Not because they didn't try hard enough to stay sharp, but because no one ever told them this. Your brain doesn't age at night. It starves. It starves for glucose. It starves for antioxidants. And most of all, it starves for the specific nutrients that protect your neurons while you sleep. That is what this video is about. Not pills, not brain training apps, real food. Fruits you can find at your local grocery store, maybe already sitting in your kitchen, that can quietly repair brain cells, improve memory, and reduce your risk of cognitive decline while you sleep. And I'm not talking about exotic superfoods. I'm talking about bananas, apples, and oranges. 3 fruits you've seen 100 times, but probably never thought of as overnight brain medicine. New research is showing that what you eat before bed may be even more important than what you eat during the day, especially for your brain. In this video, I'll show you exactly how each of these fruits works, what's inside them, how they protect brain cells, and how you can use them tonight to wake up clearer, sharper, and more mentally present. Stay with me through the end, because the routine I'll share in the final section ties everything together, and it's something you can start using tonight. Let's start with the first fruit. One you've probably eaten hundreds of times, but very likely never at the right moment. Because when you eat it matters just as much as what you eat. Let's talk about bananas. The older brain is not broken, it's undersupplied. Bananas may look humble, but they deliver one of the most powerful combinations for overnight brain support, especially when consumed at the right time. This fruit is rich in vitamin B6, a nutrient your brain needs to produce key neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, and GABA. These chemicals don't just affect mood. They are central to forming, storing, and retrieving memories. As we age, the natural production of these neurotransmitters slows down. That's when names get fuzzy, conversations slip, mental clarity fades, especially after a restless night. Bananas help refill the brain's neurochemical tank so it can process and store information efficiently, even during sleep. But bananas don't stop there. They contain magnesium, which has been shown to calm overactive neurons, reduce nighttime brain excitability, and support deep wave sleep. That's the phase where the brain performs cellular repair and memory consolidation. A 2020 study in the journal Nutrients observed that seniors with higher magnesium and B6 intake before bed experienced better short-term recall and more stable mood patterns the following morning. The researchers concluded that nutrient timing could play a major role in cognitive resilience among older adults. And then there's tryptophan, an amino acid found in bananas that gets converted into serotonin and melatonin, 2 compounds deeply involved in memory processing and brain recovery during sleep. Serotonin enhances synaptic transmission. Melatonin triggers the release of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a protein critical for neuron survival and growth. In simple terms, bananas create the conditions your brain needs to heal itself. Not just rest, heal. Let me share a quick example. Martin, a retired accountant, told me he felt mentally slow and scattered every single morning. He started eating a banana 1 hour before bed. No supplements, no major dietary changes, just one banana consistently before sleep. After 2 weeks, he told me, "It's like my mind clicks in faster. I don't lose my train of thought the way I used to." For seniors, that's not just an improvement in recall, that's independence. Here's how to use it correctly. Eat one small to medium ripe banana, about 45 to 60 minutes before bed. Choose one with a few brown spots. Ripening increases the available magnesium and tryptophan, which is exactly what you want. If you're concerned about blood sugar, pair the banana with a few almonds. The healthy fat slows sugar absorption without interfering with the brain-supporting compounds. Avoid heavy meals, dairy, or caffeine close to this timing. They can interfere with melatonin release and reduce the brain-calming signals you're trying to create. The beauty of bananas isn't in how exotic they are. It's in how reliable they are. A consistent source of the exact compounds your brain needs, at exactly the time it needs them most. This isn't brain hacking. This is brain nourishment. Gentle, natural, and predictable. Exactly what the aging mind deserves. Now, if bananas refill your neurochemical tank, what happens when you also clear out the brain's oxidative waste? That's where the second fruit comes in. If bananas refuel the brain, apples cleanse it. This common fruit hides an uncommon secret. Beneath the skin of every apple is a combination of antioxidants, polyphenols, and flavonoids, compounds that play a critical role in protecting brain tissue from oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is one of the primary drivers of memory loss and mental decline in older adults. As we age, free radicals accumulate in the brain. These unstable molecules damage neurons. They erode the protective myelin sheath around nerve fibers. They interfere with synaptic transmission. The result? Slower thinking, poor recall, and increased risk of cognitive disorders. Apples fight back. They are especially rich in quercetin, a flavonoid concentrated in the peel. Quercetin acts as a neuroprotective shield, reducing inflammation in the hippocampus, the brain's primary memory center, and slowing the progression of oxidative damage. A 2017 study in experimental gerontology found that quercetin preserved cognitive performance and hippocampal plasticity in aged subjects, at dosages equivalent to what you'd get from eating a single apple per day. One apple. But antioxidants are only part of the story. Apples are also high in soluble fiber, particularly pectin. Pectin has been shown to feed gut bacteria that produce short-chain fatty acids. And these compounds are now known to cross the blood-brain barrier and trigger the release of BDNF, the same protein critical for new brain cell formation and memory retention that we talked about in the banana section. The gut-brain axis isn't a theory anymore. It is a proven communication line. And apples are one of the few fruits that work on both ends of it, feeding the gut and rebuilding the brain at the same time. A 2021 human trial published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults who consumed 2 apples daily over 12 weeks showed improved executive function and verbal recall, along with significantly lowered markers of systemic inflammation. Apples also contain compounds that support cerebral blood flow, meaning more oxygen and nutrients delivered to working neurons, especially during the night when the brain clears metabolic waste and consolidates learning. Taken together, these compounds form a multi-layered system of support. They reduce inflammation. They promote neurogenesis, the formation of new brain cells. They enhance communication between neurons, and they do it without side effects, supplements, or guesswork. For maximum impact, eat your apple in the evening, but not immediately before bed. The ideal window is 90 minutes to 2 hours before sleep. This allows the antioxidants to circulate and the fiber to begin fermentation in the gut, so the beneficial compounds reach your brain precisely when it enters its deep repair cycle. Choose apples with red or dark skin, Gala, Fuji, or Red Delicious. These contain higher concentrations of quercetin and polyphenols, and do not peel it. The skin is where the majority of the brain protective compounds are concentrated. Remove the skin, and you lose most of what makes the apple valuable for your brain. One fruit, one habit, a cascade of effects that ripple through your neural networks overnight. When paired with a banana, apples help create the ideal biochemical environment for the brain to restore itself, quietly, efficiently, and naturally. But we're not finished. There's a third fruit, bright, juicy, and packed with a nutrient your brain cannot afford to run low on, even for a single night. Let's talk about oranges. The brain doesn't just fade with age. At the microscopic level, it rusts. Every memory, every decision, every thought creates oxidative waste. And unless that waste is cleared consistently, it accumulates, damaging neurons, disrupting neurotransmitters, and accelerating cognitive decline. This is where oranges come in. Often thought of as nothing more than immune support, oranges are one of the most powerfully brain-protective fruits available, especially for seniors. Their strength comes from a single nutrient most people massively underestimate for brain health: vitamin C. Your brain holds the highest concentration of vitamin C in the entire body. But here's the critical problem: it cannot store it. That means even a single night without adequate vitamin C can leave your brain exposed to oxidative damage and inflammation. Vitamin C is a potent antioxidant, but its role in the brain goes far deeper than fighting free radicals. It is essential for the synthesis of dopamine and norepinephrine, two key neurotransmitters involved in motivation, alertness, and focus. Without adequate vitamin C, these pathways begin to slow. The result? Fatigue, mental fog, and poor short-term memory. A 2020 study in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience found that seniors with higher vitamin C intake scored significantly higher on cognitive function tests, particularly in tasks related to attention span and processing speed. Vitamin C also protects the blood-brain barrier. That's the crucial gatekeeper that filters toxins and pathogens from reaching your brain. As we age, this barrier becomes more fragile and more permeable. Oranges help fortify it, reducing the risk of inflammatory molecules entering and disrupting delicate brain circuits. Another layer of protection comes from hesperidin, a flavonoid found in orange pulp and peel. Hesperidin has been shown to increase cerebral blood flow, delivering more oxygen and nutrients to active neurons during sleep. A 2019 trial published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults who consumed citrus flavonoids daily experienced enhanced brain perfusion and improved episodic memory after just 8 weeks. This is especially important overnight, when the brain enters glymphatic clearance, a process that flushes out waste compounds associated with neurodegeneration. Oranges fuel this process by keeping blood vessels open, neurons protected, and chemical signals intact. Let me share another example. Sarah had been struggling to stay mentally sharp after dinner. Conversations felt harder to follow. Her thinking felt clouded by early evening. She began eating orange slices about 2 hours before bed. After 10 days, she told me, "I wake up thinking clearly again. It's like someone cleaned the windows in my head." To get the full benefit, choose fresh, whole oranges, not processed juice. The fiber in whole fruit slows sugar absorption and enhances the delivery of hesperidin and vitamin C to the brain. Juice removes the fiber entirely and turns what should be brain medicine into a blood sugar spike. Eat half to 1 orange, roughly 90 minutes before bedtime, ideally paired with a small source of healthy fat, a few seeds or nuts, to support nutrient absorption. The white pith beneath the skin is packed with flavonoids. Don't peel it too aggressively. That layer is part of what you're after. Avoid combining with caffeine, chocolate, or heavy starches close to bedtime. These can interfere with nighttime clearance and delay nutrient transport to the brain. Vitamin C isn't just for colds. It is a neurological ally, working silently during sleep to sweep out brain fog, revive attention, and preserve the mental clarity you deserve to wake up with. Now that you understand how each of these 3 fruits works individually, it's time to bring them together. In the next section, I'll show you a simple nightly routine that puts all three to work, starting tonight. Knowledge alone doesn't change your brain. Action does. Bananas replenish neurotransmitters. Apples clear oxidative debris. Oranges shield the brain and fuel its overnight waste-clearing system. Now, how do you turn that into a routine that actually works? The brain thrives on consistency. Unlike the heart or muscles, the brain doesn't regenerate well under chaos. It needs a predictable window of rest, clean nutrients, and the right biochemical environment to repair and reset itself overnight. A 2022 review in Neuroscience and Biobehavioral Reviews emphasized that nutrient timing is as important as nutrient type for cognitive health in older adults. In other words, eating the right foods at the right time can make or break the brain's ability to consolidate memory and resist age-related cognitive decline. The goal is not to overload your system right before sleep. It's to prime your internal chemistry 1 to 2 hours ahead of your bedtime, so the necessary compounds reach your brain precisely when it begins its deep repair cycle. Here's how the timing works. Start with half a ripe banana, about 1 hour before bed. This gives your brain access to magnesium, tryptophan, and vitamin B6, the key players in serotonin and melatonin production, which initiate sleep and memory processing. Next, about 90 minutes before sleep, eat half to 1 small red apple, skin on. The fiber and antioxidants from the peel begin to circulate, reducing inflammation and activating the brain-supporting compounds we covered. Finally, around the 2-hour mark, enjoy half a fresh orange or a few orange segments. The vitamin C and hesperidin get absorbed and begin protecting the blood-brain barrier while enhancing blood flow, 2 factors that directly influence sleep-related memory consolidation. If digestion is sensitive, you can spread these across the early evening. For example, the orange with dinner, the apple as a light post-dinner snack, and the banana last. Avoid combining them with heavy meals, caffeine, or dairy, which can interfere with absorption and timing. A 2021 clinical trial in brain sciences found that combining antioxidant-rich foods from different fruit groups led to greater improvements in verbal recall and processing speed than consuming them in isolation. The synergy between different phytonutrients enhances cognitive effects. That is the case for the trio approach. To make this sustainable, prep in advance. Wash your apple and orange earlier in the day. Slice the banana just before eating. Keep portions moderate. You're not feeding your stomach, you're feeding your brain. No honey, no whipped cream, no added sugar. This is not a dessert routine, it is a therapeutic one. And consistency is what makes it work. According to a 2020 article in Aging Research Reviews, individuals who maintained consistent evening food patterns showed lower markers of cognitive aging over a 5-year period. The brain responds to rhythm. Give it one. If you've stayed with me this far, I want to tell you something that many people over 60 don't hear nearly enough. You are not broken, you are not fading, and you are not powerless. Yes, memory changes with age. Yes, the brain slows down. But that is not the end of the story. It never was. What your brain needs right now is not another supplement bottle or a complicated mental exercise. It needs rest. It needs nutrients, and it needs a little consistency. And it turns out the things that rebuild your memory aren't locked behind prescriptions or expensive protocols. They are in your kitchen. They might already be in a bowl on your counter. A ripe banana, a crisp apple, a fresh orange. Simple, familiar, and backed by science to protect the brain, fuel neurotransmitters, and help you wake up. Clearer than you felt the night before. So if you've been forgetting more lately, if your thoughts feel slower, your mornings feel heavier, your conversations feel harder to follow, know this. You are not losing your mind. You are gaining a new kind of control. One that starts with understanding how the brain actually works. One that's reinforced by simple actions done consistently. And one that builds, night after night, from choices you can make starting right now. Because memory is not just about remembering facts. It's about remembering who you are. and that is always worth protecting. Thank you for staying with me to the end. I know your time is valuable, and the fact that you spent these minutes learning about your brain means you're already ahead of where most people are. If this video gave you a new tool or a new reason for hope, please like it and share it with someone you care about. And drop a comment below. Even just one sentence about which fruit you're going to start with tonight. I read every comment, and your answer may be exactly what someone else needs to see. If this kind of content speaks to you, subscribe to stay with me, because we are just getting started. Your brain still has so much life ahead. I'm Dr. Julian Cross, and I'll see you in the next video.